Police in Joplin search for a woman seen leaving warnings about euthanizing cats on the loose. Carl Junction residents will vote on a school bond question aimed at funding school repairs. More witnesses speak on the death of George Floyd in police custody on day 2 of former officer Derek Chauvin's murder trial.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin police investigate after residents find letters on their doors threatening to euthanize stray and feral cats. This is KOAM News at 5. Yesterday, residents in the Gray neighborhood found the letters on their properties which had been left overnight. KOAM Zach Dodge joins us live from that neighborhood with the latest.
Those letters were found on several houses in this neighborhood and say that any stray cat captured in the neighborhood will be euthanized starting January 1st. One resident shared security camera video with us, which shows the person putting the flyers up. The Joplin Police Department has opened an investigation.
So they're on top of it, and I'm really glad they are because it's a serious situation, and we just can't have people in our neighborhood killing cats.
Residents in the neighborhood have put together a roughly $2,000 reward, and the Joplin Police Department is asking anyone with information to contact them. Reporting live in Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Zach, thanks. The Joplin Regional Airport will soon offer flights to Houston. Earlier this month, the city announced daily flights to both Chicago and Denver. Today, the city announced Houston will also be included as a daily flight. Flights will begin on June 1st, but you can start booking flights on April 6th. Carl Junction residents next Tuesday will vote on a school bond question. The CJR1 School District Board of Education is asking for $7 million to pay for repairs to the schools, including fixing roofs, windows, heating, and ventilation systems. The bond would keep the property tax levy at its current rate.
We just felt like it's a good opportunity to take advantage of low interest rates. The board has been responsible through the years in refinancing some of our current bonds. So we're in a position to run this issue without increasing taxes, without putting any more burden on our taxpayers.
The current levy, which again would remain unchanged if the bond is passed, is a little more than 98 cents per $100 of assessed property value. Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at the weather. It's gotten cooler out there, Doug.
It has, Dow. It felt pretty good earlier today, and then of course a cold front has rolled through, and right along and just north of that front we are seeing a nice little deck of clouds, and you can see it lining up right along the I-44 corridor and south of I-44 we may get a few scattered little pop-up showers as we go through the evening hours. Most of us are going to stay dry, but we are going to cool down just a bit as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. Temperatures right now, most of us upper 50s to near 60. We did hit about 65, 67 degrees across the region, but you can see that front kind of barreling in over the past few hours, and the winds on the north side of the front, a little bit on the breezy side. We're going to drop back through the 50s into the 40s, all the way down to 38 later on tonight. When are we going to warm back up? We'll look at that here in just a bit.
All right, catch you then. Thanks, Doug. Easter is this weekend, and many local churches and organizations are planning Easter egg hunts and Easter worship services. With those events comes the opportunity for people to get together indoors and out. Health officials say despite vaccines being distributed, it's still a good idea to play it safe.
But if you have been vaccinated and have had your 2 doses and are about 2 weeks out from that, you should be fully immunized and should have no problem enjoying those family gatherings and get-togethers. However, I would caution that we need to be aware for those folks who have not been immunized, they are still at a greater risk.
Bergner says while it's easier to be socially distanced outdoors, he strongly encourages those attending indoor events and services to remain socially distanced and to wear masks. The U.S. has seen a 16% increase in new coronavirus cases per day over the past week. That's according to data from Johns Hopkins University. This has government officials warning of a potential 4th wave of new cases.
We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now I'm scared.
It's a tough message, important for people to hear that we're still in a war with this virus and people need to still be vigilant in order to return to normal.
At least 8 states have dropped mask and social distancing restrictions in recent weeks. This is the second day of the murder trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Jurors heard testimony from several witnesses, including the teenager who shot the cell phone video of that deadly arrest. Reporter Michael George has the latest from Minneapolis.
It's been nights. I stayed up apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more.
Appearing off camera, a now 18-year-old Darnella Frazier gave powerful testimony about the day she recorded the viral video of former police officer Derek Chauvin kneeling on the neck of George Floyd.
He just stared at us, looked at us. He had like this cold look, heartless. He didn't care.
Defense attorney Eric Nelson questioned Frazier about the actions of the bystanders.
The volume of the people in that were bystanders grew louder over time. Would you agree with that?
Yes, more so as he was becoming more unresponsive.
Frazier's 9-year-old cousin was standing beside her as the incident unfolded last May.
I was sad and kind of mad because it felt like he was stopping his breathing and it is kind of like hurting him.
It's been 10 months since George Floyd's death. Here in Minneapolis, many say watching the trial and hearing the testimony of the witnesses has reopened the wounds from that day.
I think about it every single day.
Pastor William Seth Martin leads a multi-ethnic congregation in South Minneapolis. He believes justice can help heal the community.
My wife, as we watched the trial yesterday for the first time, it was the first time I saw her cry about it, actually in a while. And it stirred up those raw emotions.
The defense maintains Floyd's death was the result of drug abuse and an underlying heart condition, and has defended Chauvin's use of force. Michael George, CBS News, Minneapolis.
If convicted of second-degree murder, Chauvin faces up to 40 years in prison, faces up to 25 years if convicted of third-degree murder, and up to 10 years if convicted of second-degree manslaughter. Later, commercial flights to the final frontier.
The modern-day space race continues with the release of Virgin Galactic's latest spacecraft. I'm Chris Martinez with a look at when the public will be able to buy a ticket to ride.
And next in Health Watch, as sales of alcohol increased during the pandemic, health experts warn of the long-term effects on people's livers. Working long hours after you've recovered from a heart attack may increase your chances of a second heart attack. A new study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology shows that heart attack patients who return to working nearly 55 hours a week are twice as likely to have more cardiac trouble. The study also finds men and younger employees tend to work more hours. Without a doubt, everyone's routine has changed during the pandemic, and for some of us, that's meant tossing healthy habits aside for junk food and alcohol. But experts warn about giving yourself too much of a free pass during these times. Our indulgences can have long-term effects on our health, namely our livers. And if we're not aware, the warning signs can be too subtle to detect until it's too late. Reporter Marty Salt has more.
Surendra Vasudeva is still trying to put the pieces together. This fall, he was diagnosed with liver cancer, and his best option now is a transplant.
The first time you hear the word cancer, you are devastated. I had absolutely no symptom.
Most patients feel nothing when they have chronic liver disease, and it's really only detected by blood tests.
However, Surendra was unaware that his other health issues were putting a burden on his liver, which led to cirrhosis.
The primary thing was autoimmune hepatitis, but he also has diabetes and high blood pressure.
That's why Dr. Wang says it's important to be aware how our lifestyle can affect the long-term health of our liver.
During this pandemic, a lot of patients are being more free with their alcohol use or allowing themselves to have a worse diet than usual. And all of this can damage the liver in the long term.
It's especially important to be mindful if you have a pre-existing condition.
Obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol are affected by your diet and can lead to fatty liver disease and then cirrhosis.
Make sure your doctor checks your liver health during your annual exams. It's important to know if there's a red flag.
And therefore we can screen them very aggressively. We have lots of treatment options.
I'm very optimistic.
I'm Marty Salt reporting.
It's also important to note that the liver can heal from early stage damage. That's why it's so important to identify a problem before it becomes disease and irreversible. Some of the subtle early warning signs are tiredness, changes in appetite, bruising, and increased blood pressure. Liver cancer is the 5th most common cancer worldwide. Lack of exercise could be to blame for 8% of chronic diseases and deaths worldwide. Researchers found middle-income nations are most impacted by inactivity. Experts recommend about 150 minutes of exercise per week. There may be a link between glaucoma and dementia. Australian researchers say people living with normal tension glaucoma are 2 times more likely to experience cognitive decline. Researchers are working to determine exactly why that is. Doug Hetty is up next with his complete 7-day forecast, and a little bit later the CDC extends a ban on evictions as many Americans struggle to pay rent.
The KO
Well, most of the day actually turned out to be a pretty good day. And then, of course, we've had a cold front that has rolled through. So our temperatures have been dropping over the past several hours. Most of us did go mid, if not upper 60s for highs. And then the clouds started to thicken up. And then our temperatures have been dropping off over the past couple hours. But still 67 today, so above average. And March is almost over. And you can see just about 3/4 of the month really looked pretty good. All right, allergies also very high. So on a scale of 1 to 10, this is mainly the tree allergies, but today's a 10, tomorrow's a 10 again. So the allergies are going to really stay high as we go through the rest of the week. Temperatures dropping off just a bit. Most of us upper 50s to near 60 degrees. Will slowly drop back through the evening hours, but our cold front passed through right around the noon hour. Now everybody has a northerly wind, a little breezy out there, but it is cloudy, at least especially along and south the I-44 corridor. Currently sitting at 59 northwesterly winds, at about 15. Humidity is at 46%. As we slide back through the rest of the evening hours, we're going to drop back through the 50s, 40s. Kind of cold tonight, down to about 38 for an overnight low. You can see the cloud deck right along the I-44 corridor. So these clouds are due to the front, which is in our far southeastern counties, kind of that cloud deck along and just north of the interstate. And we don't really have much in the way of rain, but I wouldn't be surprised if some light showers start to develop along and south of Interstate 44. I think if you live north of Interstate 44, you will be dry as we go through the evening hours. But this is a weak system. You can see most of the rain is off to our east, across the eastern parts of Missouri, Arkansas, down through Louisiana. But there is a little wave on the backside out across western Kansas. That will give us clouds once again later on tonight, and then also could give us a few showers late tonight into tomorrow morning. So here's 11 p.m. We're fine. Clouds thicken up again. Here's 2 a.m. We can go into 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can see a few random showers, mainly in our southern counties, but don't be surprised if you wake up and there are a few showers across the region as the system kind of works on through. So let's go ahead and let's zoom in. Here's your day planner for you. Cloudy skies, a random shower in the morning, 38. And then we're going to warm through the 40s, up to about 49 by noon. I think most of us will top out a cooler high of 54, but still not a bad day as we get sunshine as we go through the afternoon hours. Let's go down the road. Thursday looks great. Friday, we start to warm back up, 62. Saturday, I think we're going to go into the upper 60s, and then as we head into Easter, we are going to get some clouds, and we may get a random shower as we head into Easter Sunday, but still, I think in general, a pretty good day. Here's your outlook for Sunday, Easter Sunday, 7 a.m. 48, 64 by noon, and then a high temp right around 69, so at least temperatures are going to be fantastic. As we go into Monday and then also Tuesday, better chances for showers and thunderstorms, and then that's when our severe threat will start to increase again next Tuesday and then also next Thursday. 54 tomorrow, 54 on Thursday, near 70 on Saturday, right around 70 as well on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, I like the looks of that weekend ahead, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be another nice one.
Thanks, Chuck. Coming up, a look at the latest advancements in private space travel. First, though, we honor a local Purple Heart recipient. Lyle Fritchie served in the U.S. Marine Corps in 1966 and 67. The Sarcoxie, Missouri native was stationed in Vietnam, and we salute Lance Corporal Lyle Fritchie, a four-state hero. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is extending a ban on evictions to the end of June, after a Census Bureau report showed that 20% of renters do not pay rent last month. They did not. The moratorium was originally set to expire at the end of this month. A CDC official says keeping people in their homes and preventing evictions is a key step in helping to stop the spread of COVID-19. Americans are starting to take to the skies in growing numbers again. The TSA screened a record number of travelers at airports across the country during a roughly 2-week period in March. For 17 days in a row now, the agency has screened more than 1 million people at U.S. airports, marking a big milestone for the industry, which has been hit hard during the pandemic. The promise of private space travel is coming closer to reality thanks to some well-known billionaires. One company is selling seats for a new craft that could take passengers far above the Earth next year, while another company is trying to get to Mars. Chris Martinez reports.
Virgin Galactic believes this brand new spacecraft will give paying customers a chance to be an astronaut.
It's tremendously exciting. It's been a long journey to get this far.
Sir Richard Branson is the billionaire behind the operation and says the VSS Imagine will have test flights this summer, including one that he will go on. This is the third version of the Virgin spacecraft. Previous flights were carried up aboard a mothership
2, 1, release.
and then dropped back down to Earth. Future missions will head miles above the planet's surface and allow tourists to unbuckle and experience several minutes of weightlessness. The first launch could be next year, with tickets already selling for $250,000.
Our plan is to build a number of spaceships, and so we could maybe get up to sort of 400 or 500 flights a year. And then we will try to get it down to a price where as many people as possible are able to go up.
Branson isn't the only billionaire reaching for the stars. Amazon's Jeff Bezos tested his latest Blue Origin rocket in January, with hopes of one day taking tourists up.
So proud to work with such a great team.
And Tesla's Elon Musk has SpaceX. One of the company's experimental rockets blasted off on a cloudy Tuesday in Texas, exploding during the flight. It's designed to return to Earth, but a test earlier this month also ended in an explosion. Virgin spacecraft lands like an airplane. The company had its own crash in 2014 that killed one of the pilots. There have been many successful tests since then, and the company expects to give people an out-of-this-world experience and bring them back safely. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next, but then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear from Joplin authorities about flyers put up in a neighborhood threatening to euthanize stray and feral cats. Plus, Joplin Regional Airport Manager Steve Stockham talks about flights to Houston being added to the new schedule. And incoming kindergartners in Pittsburgh get a chance to check out what their classroom is going to look like. Stay with us, CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now let's check back with Doug for a final look at the weather. Doug.
All right, Dow, it looks like we're going to have the clouds throughout the evening hours, and we could get a random shower or two, especially south of Interstate 44. Kind of cold tonight, down to about 38. A few random morning showers, and then we'll get some afternoon sunshine. Chilly tomorrow, high of 54, and then down below freezing tomorrow night.
Thanks, Doug, and thank you for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.